What's up, everybody? My name is Khalil,
This is Randy.
and welcome to the Brick by Brick podcast.
Let's get into it. See, one of the biggest things that we want to make sure that we're continuing to enforce is make sure that whether you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, we want to make sure that you're getting tangible lessons and gems so that you can get into activity, get into making progress instead of sitting in inaction.
And I think that applies to all levels of entrepreneurship, though. Beginners, intermediate, and maybe even the seasoned vet that really just need a new reminder.
Mm-hmm. I think it goes back to the quote of we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. It's not like you need to learn a new lesson. You just need to be reminded of something that you probably learned at some point in time.
Facts, I agree. And segueing into that, I think the thing today that I really want to talk about is clarity and vision. Because I feel like as an entrepreneur, you have to be able to see the vision and make it plain enough for you to be able to achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when it comes to you, when did it click? When did vision click for you?
Man, I think there were multiple moments for me, but I think it was a series of questions. So I was in February of 2023 when I was kind of like, I'm gonna do insurance, I'm gonna sell real estate, I'm gonna drive Uber or whatever. Like I was so all over the place. And something that my uncle asked me, he was like, do you plan on opening up your own insurance company? And I was like, no. Then he was like, so why are you doing insurance? And after that moment, I was like, the clarity allows you to have a certain level of focus towards the things that you're wanting to accomplish. And so I think for me, it was like, stop getting distracted. So that's where that clarity came from. It's like, you need to focus.
Okay, so when it comes to that focus, we're gonna break it through step by step, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if I'm like, okay, I'm trying to lock in, but how do I get it so clear that it almost becomes systematic?
I think you got to write it down. Like, write it down, whether it's in a Google Doc, whether it's pen to paper. Like, there is power in actually articulating what it is that you want to accomplish. And like, I mean, even for you, right? Like, we were talking, before we started recording about like your business plan and what what had transpired about, you knew what you wanted to do, but it was also like what needed to happen for you then to actually make progress within the business.
Yeah,
So I would say the first step is writing it out, getting very clear.
right. They say what, write the vision, make it plain.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So what do you feel as if helped you when you were working on your business plan?
Man, when it comes to working on my business plan, right? So I've always been a person that's been able to see the big picture, be able to see the vision. But it wasn't until I got into entrepreneurship that the vision started to become almost broken down by levels, right? So when I was writing my business plan, I knew exactly, okay, this is the people. First, let me, so starting a business plan is okay, goes to, okay, what problem am I really trying to solve?
Right.
Then it went down to, okay, who are the people that actually need this problem solved? And then it went to 3, okay, how am I going to solve this problem?
Right.
But then I feel like once you get into it, there's really like another level because for a perfect example, right, I have a goal for Kahlab Social to make 100 members, right? In order to reach this goal of 100 members, how can I do this, right? How many people needs to know about Kahlab Social in order to get this goal? Now, once I figure out exactly how many people, then it's okay, how do I reach out to these people? And then once I reach out to them, what do I say to these people? And then it almost becomes like you're just breaking it down layer by layer by layer, until you get to like the finest detail. But even then, it's more so about who can help me reach this goal first before I even can get to all the details.
And I think that's very, very powerful because I know recently we've been talking about who, not how, and shifting the mindset from, how can I accomplish this into who can help me achieve this. Because instead of you saying that I got to figure everything out, you're like, well, there's probably some people out here who have a high level of competency in regards to something that I'm striving to do. Where are they at, or how do I need to get connected to them to then look to build the life that I desire?
And that's like the golden ticket is like who. But my question for you is now, 'cause we're breaking down a vision. So what is your who? Like who is your who to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish?
I still think, like, for me, I won't say I'm still figuring it out. I was gonna say that. I think that one thing that's been very helpful is in, say, the Road to Wealth podcast, the guests that come on the show or reach out to me. And so I had someone who said, yeah, they've done over like 7,000 or they have over 7,000 units. And I was like, having over 7,000 units. And so it's like, I want to be very careful with when I look to reach out to him, because that's a like, hey, what did you do? What did it look like? And like, what do I need to kind of start out with in order to get even half of that,
Mm-hmm.
So, or at least, yeah, even 1/7 or 1/17 or something,
Yeah.
breaking it down. But I think it's just that is one of my who's, is that someone who's performing at a higher level in commercial real estate, specifically, apartment complexes, and getting in front of them, having a conversation with them.
What would that conversation look like?
Brother, I need help. No, but no. So I think it's a matter of, I want to be careful in the steps that I take. I want to be mindful in the steps that I take, because you're dealing with acquisition. You're dealing with, money, lots of it. So I want to make sure that I'm being intentional with it. So I'd probably just say, like, hey, what does kind of like a win-win look like? Or are there certain connections you're looking for at this time? Or for example, say I put in a lot of work to get him one deal somewhere in the, let's say Houston area. And then because of that, now I've become valuable to him. So then the ask is, okay, I brought you a deal. The only thing that I ask is, can you walk me through the deal?
Hmm.
Right. So now I'm looking to speed up my learning curve, pay down my ignorance debt, so that I can look to live the life I want to live.
Mm. So it's really almost like a go-giver mentality.
It
Like,
has to be.
I'm gonna help you out, and you're gonna help me out. But you got to be clear enough in your own vision to know that, like, this is what needs to happen in order for me to get where I need to go.
I mean, also, it's like, there is no guarantee that just because I help him, he helps me out. However, I think that that's that essence of, there is, like, in all, there's profit in hard work, but endless talk leads to poverty, the parable in Proverbs, right? So it's just,
Ooh.
yeah. So it's just like, I did the hard work, you know what I'm saying? So I put in the work, and I'm just now on the receiving end of whatever happens. Could be a finder's fee, right? So I get, say, and maybe, I don't know, consult with your attorney. But say it's just a certain like percentage that I get on that deal because I assisted in finding it. So I think the conversation is a matter of, how can I give, how can I literally give, how can I serve, right? Because you're either gonna serve, you're gonna pay with money, or you're gonna pay with time. So it's gonna be one of the three. Like, you're gonna pay for it, you're gonna put in some time, or you're just gonna have to earn it.
Facts.
So I gotta come from contribution.
Facts. Going back to clarity, a topic that I kind of wanted to, touch on is, so for me, when it comes to business and marketing, I know it's super important to be clear with what message you're trying to, attract. It's super clear to know exactly who you're trying to talk to.
Right.
But when it comes to buying a home, is there a certain clarity that is needed from the consumer?
Yeah, I think it's honestly them deciding on who's the decision maker. Like, we don't have to overcomplicate it. Who's the decision maker, and is this a decision you need to make for your livelihood? Because once you make a decision, we'll handle the rest. If you don't even know what you want to do, you just need to know what you want to do, and we'll show you how.
Okay, so tell me a story, right? Break it down in story format. But we're gonna apply this same concept into business, into marketing. But we're gonna give a real estate analogy, and then I'll double back and give a clarity analogy on my end. So give me a clarity analogy that can kind of so we can understand why clarity is so important, and a situation where clarity might have been a big play for whatever.
Right. So let's say we're talking about somebody looking to buy real estate, right? So the conversation or the question I may ask is just clarifying questions. What I'll ask is, okay, so help me understand, how much are you actually looking to spend, say, monthly, in order to purchase this home? Right? So it's more so me asking a question of, okay, how much are you willing to spend, or how much of a mortgage do you want to take? Right? It's like, okay, how much have you been pre-approved for? So I'm asking a series of questions because you need to know your numbers in order to then make an informed decision to buy X real estate. You just need to know what it is you're looking to do. So that's so the story would just be like, it's more so like a role play. So it'll be like, hey, last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were looking to move, say, before school starts, which is August, essentially August, really September. It's really August. Let's just say they wanted to move in before September, right? So we'd start out to say, hey, I know that you mentioned that you wanted to move in before school because your family is expanding, or or your child is now going to middle school. So it's kind of like, okay, so that's your timeline. Right now it's a matter of, okay, so if that's the case, like, have you had time to talk to a preferred lender, so we get a feel for your numbers? How much can you afford in regards to how much you're going to look to purchase? Then of course we're getting into, okay, you have clarity on your numbers. We've seen X amount of homes, which home like really fits your criteria. Then, okay, because this home fits your criteria, what type of offer are you looking to put in? So it's a series of questions to say, like, what do you want it to look like? How much do you need in order for you to be able to close on this house? It's just a conversation.
Okay.
It's a consultation. That's just really what it is.
And that's how you help someone get clarity.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Understood.
Yeah. What about you?
So when it comes to marketing and business clarity, it's a series of questions as well. But I just want to tell a story, right? So you have two college students, or two students that they both graduated high school, right? One student has no idea what he wants to do. So they go to college. They both go to college, right? They go two separate paths. One has no idea what he wants to do, and they spend, 5-6 years in college. They go through different majors. They may spend a year or two undecided. They have no idea what they want to do. They end up graduating with a degree. They still end up graduating, but they have no clarity in their life, right? They have no idea really what they want to do. They're just bouncing around. They're just doing it because this is what you're supposed to do. Right? That person goes off into the workforce, maybe not even get a job within their major, but they end up getting a job, and then they live a life, and they always want more. They're always, I don't know what to do, but I'm just doing it, right? That's one story, right? Then you have the flip side of the person who they go to college and they know exactly what they want to be. They figure out somebody else who is doing exactly what they want to do. They analyze their path. They go ahead and take the same major. They apply for the same type of internships and jobs. They end up graduating in a quicker time. They end up getting a job. They end up going down this career path that's laid out for them already. But it's because they were so clear in the very beginning, they were able to make that decision. And because of that, all of the things that, they wanted in life started happening sooner. And I think that when it comes to clarity in marketing in a business, it's kind of the same thing, right? So when it comes to business, you have two options, right? You have time or you have money, right? Now, if you use your time wisely and you get very clear on what you're trying to do, you can knock that time down and you can save money. But if you aren't super clear, you're going to end up wasting money. You're going to end up wasting time. So a perfect example, if you're starting a business, let's say, little Jimmy wants to start a business and he decides, all right, I want to sell lemonades, right? He knows that I want to sell lemonades to people that work out. So he may put, some pre-workout in his lemonade. But he's so clear with who he wants to serve that he puts his lemonade stand right outside of the most popping gym in the city because he's so clear. Right. And that saves time of marketing. He's meeting exactly where he needs to go to, right? But then he gets even more clear when it comes to social media marketing. So now all of his social media marketing things is pictures of people at the gym drinking the lemonade, people working out and then drinking the lemonade, testimonials of his customers saying, oh, before my workout, I drank this lemonade and I felt better. Or after this workout, I was so drained, but it allowed me to get the rest of my day and work. You know what I'm saying? He's so clear that he knows exactly what point to hit. But then it's even getting to, that's just messaging and, you know what I'm saying, know exactly who to pick. But then it gets even clearer as far as business strategy and business planning, because it's like, okay, I want to sell 100 lemonades per day. In order to sell 100 lemonades per day, I need to talk to X, Y, and Z many people per day in order to sell these lemonades. I know that there's 1,000 people that's going to come to the gym today. So if I can personally talk to 600 of them, I'm going to get this many people to buy a lemonade. And then I know that if I want people to come to this gym to buy my lemonade, I need to start reaching out to a certain amount of people that don't go to this gym
Right.
in order to get them to come to this gym so they can just want to go to, you know what I'm saying? It starts getting into all the layers of like, okay, what needs to happen in order to make this goal possible?
I think it goes back to one of the quotes that Tony Robbins mentioned was that clarity equals power. Right. So like knowing what it is that you want to do is also important so that you can take the necessary steps to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it goes back to a quote that I heard, man, when I was like 19. It was one realtor who was passed away, and he was like, a lot of people are sleepwalking through life. A lot of people are sleepwalking through life, and that really hit for me because it's like, are we being intentional with the life we're looking to live, or are we just gone with the wind?
But do you think it's because people are just going with the wind, or people really don't know what they want? Because if somebody walked in this room right now and said, Randy, I'm going to give you $500,000, what will you do with that $500,000?
What would I do with it?
If someone said that, it was like, I'm going to give you $500,000 and you need to convert it into $1 million, to basically just say double it. But the only prerequisite to you to get the money is you have to get to a point where you can tell them exactly what you're going to do with that $500,000.
It's different. It's different.
Then that's when you actually start thinking, okay, I'm gonna spend X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I go straight to like, what is it that I understand, or what is it that I'm looking to get into? And I think for me, it's just probably gonna use that money, some of it to pay for information to get me into certain rooms I've never been in, and majority of it would probably go to the investment. So it'd be like, say the building costs like 1.9, put 25% down. Nah, got about 16 units. It's just math.
But that's what I'm saying. But even you saying that, you're clear enough right now to even be like, okay, bet I'm gonna go get a building that's 1.2.
Yeah, 1.9. I mean,
1.9.
Granted, a couple years ago though,
you wouldn't have had that vision.
Yeah,
you wouldn't have had that clarity.
What are you gonna do with $1 million? I'm like, $1 million. I've actually had somebody ask me that, like, hey, I got $200,000. What you gonna do with it? I had no clarity. I didn't know what to do with it.
And you ain't know what to do with it. You never gonna get it, or you gonna get it and you gonna fumble it.
You gonna squander it.
Like you can be looking at your opportunity in eye, but because you don't really know what your opportunity looks like, you just fumble it.
All the way too. Not even like a little bit. Just fumble it all the way.
You just fumble it and then you look back like, oh, that was my opportunity.
I was closer than I thought. I think the reason why that clarity and vision is so important is because, one, if you don't have the clarity for what it is that you want to do, I think it's easy to fall into like paralysis by analysis, because you're just analyzing a whole bunch of situations, but you haven't actually taken a step forward. And I think the importance of having a vision is so that other people can be in alignment with it. And as long as they can accomplish their goals because it's in alignment with yours, you're able to go to levels that you probably never realized, and they're also able to go to levels they probably never realized as well because of that collaboration.
Facts. And I think there's people out here that not everybody has vision, and that's okay.
Is it though?
I mean, how can I think? Judge, right? Yeah, but I don't think everybody necessarily is supposed to have vision. But some people, I think there's 3 different type of people, right? There are the creative, the vision person, right? The person who can see it, they can create, they can think it, right? Then there's the person who I say they're the doer. They're I'm gonna get this done. You give me the blueprint, I'm gonna go execute, right? And then you got the person who can just manage it all. They can't see the vision for real, but you give them a vision, they can manage it in a way that the doer can know what they need to do, and the visionary can just be vision. Every now and then you run into a few different people that maybe 2 in 1, maybe all 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe.
But at the same time, I think it is okay if you aren't the vision person or all right, this is that person, but you can just go find the other person to make your missing piece. And that's why it all boils down to who, not how.
I think it also is important to know your strengths and weaknesses too.
That's self-reflection.
Yeah.
And that's why clarity isn't so important, because you know exactly what your strength is, exactly what your weakness is. You know exactly what you want out of life, exactly what you want to do. You can go find the missing piece to your puzzle.
I think people can gravitate towards that too, though. Like if you're somebody who's like, yeah, I'm very clear on what it is that I want out of life, people are like, I don't know what it is, but I rock.
I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
his energy is so infectious.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. They're like, I don't know what it is. Their energy is so infectious.
It's the power of knowing what you want to do. Because I think it's like you got to move with a certain level of intent and purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Let's segue.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's segue. We talked about vision. We talked about clarity. Um, Kind of give me what is important as someone you're in your early 20s or your late 20s. I don't know, whichever,
Yeah, man,
whichever,
pushing 30.
whichever
No, yeah,
range of the 20s. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? What is something important that you're glad, clarity wise, that you know now?
It there's a book, a very amazing book. It is called The Defining Decade, right? And so in the book it talks about identity capital, and you want to be able to like work on yourself and take responsibility for your life, because if you don't, that's how when people get to that 29, 30, they start, oh my gosh, they start like almost like freaking out a little bit because they just didn't happen to move with a certain level of intent and purpose in their early 20s. And truly, truly,
Truly.
it's a great book. It's a phenomenal book.
What is some books you would recommend people to read? Give me 3.
3 books. The Bible. The Bible is one for sure. I would then say, The Millionaire Fast Lane is another one. And then, honestly, Who Not How might just make it into the top 3.
You finished it?
No, I'm no. No. I'm like maybe 1/4,
Okay.
about 1/4. I think it's
I just
just
read that one.
yeah. I think it's just because the once again the clarity. I think it's just because of that question of like you could always look to say like how, but it's like you just focus on the who and being like a master relationship builder. You'll probably still have everything that you want in your life. So I think it might get into the top 3. I'd say maybe an honorable mention though. Ooh, depends on what you're looking to accomplish. The Richest Man in Babylon was pretty decent.
Great book.
Yeah, it was pretty.
It was a great read.
It was smooth too. I like the stories. I was like,
I felt like I was reading the Bible, but I feel like if the richest man in Babylon was like a chapter in the Bible, like was a book in the Bible, I wouldn't blink.
You know what? Actually, when I was in Alabama, when I was like
In Alabama,
when I was like 20 or so, a book that I would recommend is The Alchemist.
I actually just read that book.
Bro, that book is nice, man.
But
did you see the end of the book where he talked about this is the gem right here? At the end of the book where when he was getting interviewed, and the interviewer was asking him, talking about, maybe it's because I got the hard copy.
yeah, yeah.
But he was just talking about like essentially she was asking him like, what like your beliefs almost about death, right? About death. Like you're done, you're finished. And essentially he was saying like it's almost like death is all around us. Like he was saying like death is like right beside you. He's talking to the interviewer and he's saying like he's telling death like don't take me now. So I think it's like going back to like it's so easy to like take this life for granted. You're not even promised tomorrow.
Bro, every second, bro, you never know, bro.
You literally could go to sleep and like not wake up. I think that for me has been very powerful.
And then that goes into one of my favorite poems. If they said you can feel the unforgiven minute second, the unforgiven minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. And I just translate that to you can feel every minute of this life you're on with like trying, running towards your goals, running for what you feel like is in your heart. And you can never go wrong because you'll have no regrets.
Yeah.
Like if something boom is going in an instant, then everybody around you, you in your mind, can say, "Oh, he was doing exactly what he wanted to do."
What in the book, Who Not How, it brings up that one of the biggest regrets is not the things that you did, but the things that you did not do. And they say true hell is say you're on your deathbed, you come in contact with who you should have been.
You know? And you'd be like, wow, I wish I would have did this.
That's why I say hang around old people. hang around old people. They give you perspective.
Oh, okay,
They
okay.
give you perspective
Oh
on like,
yeah,
yeah, because
yeah.
they don't live longer.
You
So
know,
it's
there's something my mom always told me growing up. She said, "Never be a shoulda, coulda, woulda." And as I got older, I get what she's saying.
because I
Like
see people just be out here, man. I should have,
I shoulda,
man.
I
I'd be like,
coulda, and then it's like
I mean,
the second it clicked and I got clarity. Then it's like, why would I wake up every day and not do exactly what I'm supposed to do? Because then I can never say, well, I shoulda did this because I did it.
because I did it,
Or if I didn't do it,
or I shot
I
my shot.
I tried it. Then I can be like, oh well, I can knock that off of the should've.
Facts.
I can knock that off of the could've because if I already tried it and didn't work out, either one or two things. I just didn't get. I'm not at that point, big man. I'm just not at that level in order to achieve it, or I just got to put some more sweat equity in.
For real though, put that elbow grease in.
Put that elbow grease in, man.
Yeah, and don't sacrifice. Don't say. I'm not gonna lie. You talking about character, clarity, boy. Talk about clarity and vision. Temptation is real. Temptation is real. Take you off, derail you from your path. Be careful. Guard your steps.
Facts.
Yeah, because once you know what it is that you want to do, you think that distractions won't arise. That's what they're there for. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived.
Yeah, they're all around. But the biggest thing is, I think once you really truly have clarity, I think it takes a lot. It'll take a whole lot to knock you off your pivot. Because it's like, if you're so clear to the fact, like what if somebody told you this is exactly what you need to do to become the person that you dreamed in your head since you were 7 years old?
Would you do it?
And you woke up every single day and you did exactly the blueprint, like the plan of what you put into motion, you wouldn't even like, bro, I don't want to do that. That's when people are locked in. That's what it is. Bro, I don't want to do that.
You gotta start saying no, like the Steve Jobs.
But you can say no when you know exactly what you want. Until you get to the point where you don't, like, when you are unsure, if you're 85%, you may get tempted. But when you're 100% locked in and know what you want to do, what you got to do, you're like, bro, by any means, I'm gonna get it. Perfect example, right? We take this person example. Perfect example of someone who's truly locked in. They know that they are broke. They have no money. They know the only way to make money is they have to knock on doors. So, and they know that if they knock on 100 doors a day, then they'll probably have enough money to eat.
You find somebody.
And then what's going to happen is they're going to knock on 100 doors every single day. And that's called survival.
Until you start thriving.
Then you start thriving. Then that's when
I knocked on 65 doors.
I mean, when you start thriving, I think that's when the discipline really comes into play. I think discipline is.
I think the discipline comes into play, of course, before you got anything. Though.
Yeah, the discipline comes into play, but I think once you get locked in, truly, I think it's not until you get so locked in that you're trying to cheat, like then you achieve what you actually want. Then I think that's when most people slack off to go into the next level, because there's always a new level. What do you think,
bro? In the last year, I've been presented with like over 2 like 6-figure opportunities. Even though I'm not making 6 figures, I turned both of them down because I know what I'm looking to accomplish.
And that right there, folks, is real talk, a conversation for another day. He said he turned down 2 6-figure offers because he know exactly what he wants. Then my question to you is, what exactly do you want? I really want you to sit down and think about what exactly is it that you want to accomplish. What do you see your business being? Who do you see your business serving? Where do you see your business going 5 years, 10 years? And what is it going to take to achieve that? When it comes to personal development, who do you see yourself being in 5 years, 10 years? How do you become that person? Think as far as you can possibly think. Stretch your brain, stretch your mental. Plan out and map out every single web. And then go backwards and start from where you're at right now. And that is how you can make any dream into reality. That's how you can make anything possible. is simply writing the vision and making it so plain that anybody can follow it.
Yes.
I remember I watched this book. I listened to this book. My bad. I read this book. I read this book, and it was just talking about the franchise model, right? And I started to realize that when it comes to business, you're really, the whole goal of business is, of course, to solve a problem, but it's to be able to solve a problem and be able to keep repeatedly solving that problem. When it comes to the game of profit, is how can I repeat this profit? How can I repeat this? Repeatedly solve this problem in a way that I can solve it, that I can get somebody else to solve it, that I can get somebody else to solve it, and before you know it, I don't even have to solve the problem, and anybody can pick up this solution and solve it. Okay. And then that's when I was like, my brain clicked, and I was like, okay, the game of business, it's about getting so clear down to the very details. Like, okay, when someone walks into my studio, it smells a certain way. When they get in here, I talk to them, they get greeted a certain way. It's their first time here, they get told the same exact story, the same exact way every single time. I tell them, hey, do this. Hey, tell me, same exact way, to where I can give this blueprint to somebody else and they can get the tour just as good as I can get the tour.
Facts.
But then once they're in here, what is their experience like? How can I repeat this experience repeatedly every single time so they can expect the same thing, but the next person get the same exact experience? Get it to a point where it's so repeatable, where regardless who's in here for the day, they're getting the same exact experience. They're getting to talk to the same exact way. The closing and opening happens the same exact way every single time, to a point to where it's so systematized that I can say, hey, Randy, do you want to open a studio? And I can give you the exact blueprint, and you can make the same exact money or more.
Facts.
And that right there is
the Brick by Brick podcast. We appreciate your time and attention today, for honestly taking the time out your day to watch this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time.